All right, so today I'm going to be doing a little bit of void opal mining. I've done a lot of this, and I just thought I'd like to make a video, um, just doing it from scratch to see how it goes. So I've already got a spot picked out to go mining, and I already got a station picked out to sell the minerals. And these are not difficult things to do, so that's not going to be part of this. It's just going to be going from scratch out to locate and mine these things and then bring them home and sell them. First thing I do is check my inventory, make sure I have my limpets. There they are, and no other things. I've got a capacity of 72, which is good. The way this works is the ship I'm using is the Asp Explorer, and we will do a little bit of demonstration as to what I've got on board real quick. Hard points: 1 seismic charge launcher and 5 abrasion blasters. These, because the abrasion blasters are all very packed close together and forward facing on the ship, as you can see here, we've got this one, this one, this one, this one, and even this one on the side of the canopy. They're all fairly tightly packed, which means that it's pretty easy to hit a single piece of mineral with all 5 at the same time, which currently has not been patched out yet, to my knowledge. I know that the Frontier is planning on fixing that so that you only get 1, but we're going to try and get 5. Utility, just the pulse wave analyzer. Core internal, I've got, this is my Asp Explorer that's, I've had a little bit of engineering with it, but for the most part, it's pretty standard stuff. Optional internal is okay. So here we go. We got the cargo rack on the 6 slot, 5A limpet controller. This lets me have 3 limpets at the same time, which I think is really nice. Got another cargo rack to add to the 6-1, bringing me up to 72. 3A shield generator is sufficient. It's not going to win you any fights, but it will win you bumps with asteroids, which is important. 3A refinery is really all that's needed. Then, of course, you have your prospector controller, detailed service scanner, and so on. So that is the ship. Now we launch, and while we're launching, we're going to set the mine here. Set my waypoint out there. Destination to the planet with the good void opals.
Ship released. Departure authorized.
This station offers a wide range of services.
Landing gear retracted.
All clear. Flight control out.
It just occurred to me that I should have checked prices before I left station, because sometimes the prices will change. Last time I checked, they were good. We'll just see what happens. putting a little bit of an angle on the approach here because it'll let me see the rings from not an edge-on position once I get there. See, my ETA is now 10.9 seconds right there. Now I'm slowing down to 75%. This gives me a perfect approach without having to adjust my throttle after that. Let's make sure we got this activated. There we can see up. And this happens once in a while, so you don't have to worry about it too badly. They're not that good at interdiction, but yes, that's one of the things that happens in these systems is you will get pirates trying to interdict you, and it's just the way it works. Not terribly difficult to overcome. There we go. It is just more of an annoyance than anything. But if they do catch you, you could very well lose many millions. Alright, so here's the planet. And I know there's a voidable spot. I think it's this one. Let's just see. No, that's the diamond one. There it is. Alright. So I'm going to select it. So I have a button on my joystick that's bound to select forward target. This is very handy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to land in this ring maybe 3 or 4 megameters behind the center of the hotspot from the perspective of the planet. And the reason for that is because I'd like to go towards the hotspot. It doesn't really matter where you land as long as it's not right on the hotspot, because obviously that will have been mined out by somebody else. So one thing I'm curious about is whether or not these yellow rings, these bands, actually indicate heavy resources. Like if you go in a black spot, does that mean there won't be as much there? So I'm gonna go here, I think. Right on the edge. Just there we go. So now we're here. So the way I've got this set up into my fire groups, I've got the first one is just the Discovery Scanner and Detailed Surface Scanner. You don't really actually need to use these once you've used them once. Second one is Pulse Wave plus Prospector Limpet. This is what I'll be doing while I'm searching for the asteroids. Then, of course, there's a Seismic Charge Launcher in the group by itself, and this is what I do when I want to crack it open. And then once it's cracked open, it is all 5 abrasion blasters in one group and collector limpets in the other. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off a pulse right away because sometimes it lands you right on one, which is nice. A little look around. Doesn't appear to be anything good. So what I'm going to do now is boost towards the rocks. And you want to be flying really close to the ring, but not in it. Notice my pips are on engines. That gives me the most speed. So now I'm going to level out and aim towards the waypoint. And as you can see, this gives me over an hour of flying before I even get there at this speed. So I'm going to turn flight assist off, because having flight assist off lets you do this. So now it's just a process of just looking around, firing your pulses, seeing if there's anything that's glowing, that's particularly bright. the ones with cores are really bright yellow, like brighter than this one here. But the brightness depends on how close you are. And they will look a bit dim orange at a really long distance, so you got to keep an eye out for those as well. Like this one right here might be. Oh no, hang on a second. Okay, I've got my eye on this one now. Notice the bright yellow? That might be a rock with a core in it. And there's another one. So what I'm going to do is keep drifting in this direction. Oh, there's another one. So we've got a few suspects here. I'm optimistic about this one down here. Yep, there we go. It's the right shape, I think. So what I'm going to do is turn flight assist back on and boost towards it. Now, the thing about these is that there are a lot of asteroids which will be this color, but won't have a core. And usually it's because they're the wrong shape. I'll see if I can point some of those out later. But for now, I'm just going to fire my prospector into it and see what happens. And what do you know? Void opals. Alright, so we got a void opal rock. That didn't take terribly long. I'm going to now change to seismic charges. And this is a little game. I like to have my lights on. It just helps me see the surface of the asteroid a little bit better. So I'm going to do forward select on asteroid fissure, and you can see this is a low strength one. So that's good. You want to start with low strength. Give it a good charge, let it go, and you'll notice that I've already got about 60% of what I need. Up in the upper right there, the detonation yield, you want that to be in the blue zone, not the yellow or the red zone when it's finished. High strength, that's good. Alright, so now you can see I've got a little bit of blue. And what that means is that I don't have much left in order to get the optimal yield. But if I go too far, I'll go over, and I don't want to do that. Just a little bit there. No, that didn't work. It brought me just a touch more, but I need a bit more than that. Select this one, and again, I'm using forward targeting on my joystick to target these. No, that didn't work. Let's try this one. Low strength. Now, low strength at this point, it's only going to need a quick tap. So I'm going to just quick tap it and let it go. And what do you know, I did too much. Okay, so this was too much. So what I basically did was I cost myself about 20 million credits by just tapping it a little too long. If I had just tapped it even a little bit less, then I would have got optimal. But as it is, okay, so we're going to have under yield. Maybe 3 or 4 chunks will be released instead of the usual 12 to 15. Well, 15 is a bit much. Usually about 12, 13, 14 at most. But as it is, yeah, we'll deal with it. We'll keep looking for more.
Detonation in 10 seconds.
Pips to shields. Not that it matters too much. I've never actually taken damage from this, but 1.5 Ks away is enough. 2 chunks. Okay, so that was pretty bad. So I've got my 2 chunks, and I've got, as you can see, 4 targets to shoot. So what I'll do is I will, as long as I am at this phase, I need to also mention, if you look at your radar, see, I've got nothing on my radar. It's a little bit unusual because normally when you first enter a ring, and this is important, when you first enter a ring to go mining, usually there will be a pirate that spawns that tries to pirate you, and he'll scan you and he'll find nothing in your hold and he'll let you go. If you have something in your hold, he's going to attack. So when you're doing this kind of thing, it's very important that once you've got something in your hold, especially void opals, you have got to go looking around with just your thrusters for more. You can't get back into Super Cruise because once you go into Super Cruise and jump out again, and then find a different spot to mine, you're going to spawn that pirate again, and he's going to come back and attack you. But so, anyways, I just needed to mention that. So, anyways, now I'm going to do a collector limpet or two.
Programming limpet drone. Cargo scoop deployed. Cargo scoop retracted.
Make sure your cargo scoop is
Cargo
out.
scoop deployed.
So now it's time to go and mine these things. So what I'm doing is I'm pitching down while I'm thrusting my lateral thrusters up. And you got to use your lateral thrusters a lot when doing this. Get really close like this, and you can see that my targeting reticle's got 5 abrasion blasters. So I'm just going to hit that sucker. And what do you know? This time I got 4, which is good. Sometimes I get 5, which is nice. Don't forget to put a couple pips in weapons, because otherwise your blasters will run out after about 3 shots. Now, one thing that will happen, of course, when you do this is you're going to hit asteroids with your ship. And that's why it's important to have your shields up. Always have lots of pips in your shields. I got 3 that time. And the way you find, you can either look around like I'm doing here. There's another one. Or you can use your contact panel to locate them. Now, another thing that's a good tip is that it's best to not target them. So if you target them, look what happens to my reticle. It gets all scattered. Okay, so if I just don't have anything targeted like this, they tend to be more grouped together, and I think they fire straight. This time I got 5, so I think that does help. So now I don't know where the next one is. I think there's one more. So what I'll do is I'll go into contacts here and see that. Yep, there it is. Select it. And now you can see it with angle brackets on the radar around the target. And there's my last one. Also, don't worry about flying around like this while the limpets are going, because they generally will take care of themselves. But if they do happen to kill themselves, it's okay. You're going to need to dump limpets anyway. And they don't destroy they don't destroy what they're carrying, thankfully, if you happen to bump into something. Okay, we got 5 again. You can see these things are pretty agile. Aha! Look at that. See, there's a great example. Now this time, the limpet suicided on the rock, and the next one did as well. So this is a little bit of a problem. You know, once in a while, the limpets will kill themselves. And there we go. Look at my dead limpet. Oh no. Alright, so now that I've got everything, and you can double check, always double check to make sure there's nothing in contacts other than your limpets. And then you close your hatch. And now you can put pips back in engines and boost your way out of here. Look for stars. If you don't see stars, you might actually hit something. So here we are, pretty close to the edge of the ring once more. Now, before I move on, I'm going to take a look at what I've got. So now I've got, what do you know, 9 void opals. So even though I really screwed that one up, you know, it's still, you know, void opals are worth a lot. It's 1.6 million per, so it's not, it hasn't been like a worthless effort. But make sure, if you absolutely can, try your best and avoid overcharging your rock, because that's just disappointing. Let's see if I can explain a few more of these. Now this one is fairly bright. It's not yellow though, so it's definitely not. That one might be actually. Let's go look at this one. So we've got yellow here rather than orange, and that's important. Yep. Okay, so what do we have? Yeah, it might be. Let's see what happens. And it has nothing. Now I think what happened here is it's just the wrong type of asteroid. It's not the right shape. I'll get a closer look at it to show you what I'm talking about. So it is bumpy, but it's not that popcorn shape. You want that popcorn shape of an asteroid. And I think this one is just a different model. I don't know how many models there are. There's probably like maybe 20 different types of asteroids out here, but this one is definitely not the one you're looking for. So what we're going to do is go back to the avoidable hotspot and fly towards it. You can see I'm actually, once the engine's quiet down, you know you're coasting in the right direction. Turn flight assist off, and then just start scanning again. That one looks promising. Don't see anything that way. Yeah, I'm not convinced that's... Alright, fine. I'll go check it out. Yeah, there's some yellow there. It might be the right shape too. Guess we'll find out. Yeah, see how bright that is? Much, much brighter than the bright orange. So what we've got here is very likely an asteroid with a core. It seems to be the right shape too.
Cannot comply. Incoming mission critical message. Cannot comply.
I keep hitting the wrong key, sorry about that. So let's just fire prospect to see what happens. Voidables. See, it doesn't really take too long. I mean, sometimes you get really unlucky and you go for like 45 minutes without anything. But yeah, it's typically you can get plenty. And you know, certain things are not actually worth mining. Like sometimes you see bromelite. Don't even bother cracking those. So we fired a hefty charge into that. Got it started. High strength. Let's go with another medium or low. Now it's a little bit tricky because I've got a very tight environment here. It's going to be just super tricky for me to get around this thing without hitting my ship on a neighboring asteroid. So I don't know if you noticed, but there was other asteroids really close. Okay, so we got a high strength one here. That's good. So I don't have much left to do. Let's just see what happens. Oh, we got a little bit of blue. So now the next one I really do have to just tap it, barely tap it. Oh, that didn't quite do it. High strength. Okay, so just a tap, but not quite a click. And we got it. Optimum yield range. Okay, so this time I did it right. So what I'm going to do is boost away. And then come to a stop. Turn around. I should be about the right distance. There we go. Now one thing you do, of course, if it's early enough, you can do this, which is kind of nice. It's to detonate now.
Detonation in 10 seconds.
So like if you happen to nail it and you get the right amount of optimal yield, and you've still got like a minute left, just go ahead and detonate. So we've got 11 chunks free, and that's the amount of chunks that are free floating. The limpets will just go and get those. Make sure your cargo scoop is out. Now I'm going to
Programming limpet drone. Programming limpet drone.
so get all 3 limpets out. Now when the asteroid starts out, it's there's usually about 3 or 4 large chunks, and they're just kind of drifting apart from each other. And just kind of let them drift for a while. You don't want to get in there too soon, or you're going to crunch your ship. But the limpets can get in there. So yeah, I've got contacts say there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 9. 9 nodes to shoot, which is good. Okay, so we can do something with that. I've seen better, but this is good. So you see these little chunks floating around here? You don't want to hit those with your ship. It will take your shields down fairly quickly. Always have full pips and shields, and a couple in weapons, like that. Engines, yeah, you don't want to be thrusting too hard anyway, so don't worry about engines. Okay, see, something hit my shield. Not sure what. It's always a good idea to double check your external camera a little bit and see what's out there. It's pretty tight, not too bad. Very tight fit. There's one. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to hit it perpendicularly. If you hit it too much of an angle, you won't get as many. But if you hit it square on, you'll get more of them. And that's important. Until they patch it, of course. But for now, you know, make hay while the sun shines and all that. Got 5 again. My shield's taking a beating. I actually think limpets damage it, because one time my shields went out, and my limpets just continued to bring cargo in, and my hull went all the way down to 7%. So I closed the hatch and everything was fine after that.